Wanted to kind of take this moment and talk a little bit about Cody Rhodes, the perception of Cody Rhodes, and now that SummerSlam has just kind of ended, a little bit about. So when you look at Cody Rhodes, um, I would be surprised if anybody didn't consider him a star or a superstar in this case for WWE. But how do you not see that person and not think that that person could be a main event type player? You know? And I think a lot of the things in AEW, which I'm not knocking AEW, but I don't really review them. I did look at some of their belts though on my page. Feel free to check those out if you're interested. But like some of the scenarios that he was put in, I guess his one of the points that he brought up when it came to leaving was he didn't want to be a gatekeep wrestler, which kind of makes sense because essentially when you look at it from a video game perspective, right? The first boss is typically how you kind of get your feet wet. I look back at like Pokemon and Brock is always the first boss. So for the most part, at least in the first generation, and depending on what type you pick, whatever. But then you kind of put him as a second class type guy in that company. Then he comes to WWE and boom, right off the bat. And for the most part, because he was out for most of the time because he tore his tit. But some of the feuds that you can kind of now look on a little bit with Dom, Seth, overall Brock now, um, Roman, and then being able to like come in. When you look at the year time span, aside from tearing his tit, you can name all of the scenarios that he's been put in and who he's faced. And that's what happens when you look back at wrestling. That's what happens when these YouTubers they do these reviews. They look back and like, okay, what's the build to this? Wrestling Bios, I think, is a YouTube channel. You know, people like that. When you look back at a run, you're like, okay, so how did this person get to there? How did they start? Where did they go? And what wound up happening? When you're looking at this, you're looking at a built or something that's building. Maybe they didn't have a strong idea and they kind of made it up, but you see the build and it's upward for the most part, you know. But when you look at it, the dude can cut a wrestling promo, and plus he's giving you something that that's in the likeness of wrestling. Some of these guys, when they cut promos, they just say words, and some of the indie dudes that we all love, sometimes they don't even cut promos and they just wrestle matches. But when you're looking to create stars, they have to have this certain type of criteria, and this dude's got it. Now that he beat Brock, it's straight up. The only thing is, it's they kind of set it up around, or since it's August, they're setting it up now. I remember in the 90s, I don't know exactly when Sean was getting his push, but there was a while where I think it was like Brett winning the title or something like that, and then you get him to the Royal Rumble, goes up because he had won the Rumble before and then lost, I think. So now you're kind of setting him up again to kind of win the Rumble, and then eventually goes to WrestleMania, and wins the title. So that upwards trajectory, that it's there with this guy. So sometimes when it looks easy enough to book, you book it. You just have to fill in all the stuff, which I mean, it'll be interesting to see. But you know, it's the marks, man. It's the Reddit people, and I'm not trying to knock you guys. I'm just saying it's wrestling. You book these things kind of a certain way, and it's rinse and repeat a lot of these times. But you're looking for development. You're looking to create something. This dude's got enough. This dude's got more than enough. When you look at him, you see a superstar, and superstar that can win at Mania, that can win at Rumble. Now the big four pay-per-views, they're getting enough feeling around them where it's like, okay, cool. Now you can see Survivor Series is pretty much war games, right? So to have a run like this, you take advantage of it as much as you can up until a certain point, because then eventually, the boos kind of turn into just quiet, and you don't want quiet. But no matter what people are saying, when you look at Cody Rhodes, you see a star, and it would be hard to understand an argument that is against that.